Our next reader is from Rockville, Maryland. Sarah Birnbach, reading her second religious essay-winning excerpt, My Father's Blessing.
Thank you. On December 23rd, 1993, my father telephoned with the news. I've been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Always one to bring levity to serious situations, he continued, "The good news, it's slow growing. The bad news, it's not curable." We got off the phone not a second too soon as the tsunami of anguish overtook me. I began to see the promise that I'd made to him 20 years earlier through a clearer lens. It was shortly after the death of my Orthodox paternal grandfather that my father said, "I want you to find a male to say Kaddish for me when I die." My father believed, as generations before him, that the redemption of one's soul depended on reciting the Kaddish prayer twice daily for 11 months in the presence of the requisite 10-person quorum called a minyan. Like my grandfather, Dad believed that women could not say Kaddish since they were not counted as part of the minyan. This responsibility is traditionally ascribed to the male child. The problem? My father had no sons. At that time, even though hiring a Kaddish felt wrong, I put my own feelings aside and said, "Okay, Dad. What else would a loving daughter do?" Now, with his death whispering in my ear, I felt differently. I no longer wanted a stand-in for my grief. I could not bear the thought of having a stranger show God the respect for my father that reciting the Kaddish represents. I wanted to say Kaddish for him. Doing something so contrary to my father's wishes was foreign to me. Worry and anxiety about approaching him with such a radical idea became my daily diet. Sleep evaded me. What if he insists that I hire a Kaddish? What if he holds tight to his belief that gender is more important than having his own child pray for his soul? The thought of his soul not going to the eternal resting place of Gan Eden after leading a life worthy of God's blessing filled me with anguish. It took 4 years to finally muster the courage to tell my father that I wanted to say Kaddish for him. I scheduled a visit in 1996. My father was lying across the couch in his study, watching his beloved golf on television. "Dad, I want to talk to you about something serious." He looked at my face and immediately turned off the TV. "I want you to release me from the promise I made to you. I want to say Kaddish for you when you die. In the absence of sons, I am the best one to say Kaddish." His direct gaze made me wonder if he was shocked at my forthrightness or in deep thought about my proposition. I continued with all the passion I could convey. As your child, God would smile more on my efforts than on the prayers of a total stranger. My father wore his poker face. I went on. Judaism emphasizes performing mitzvot, deeds, rather than just espousing beliefs. I want to demonstrate my love in actions, not just in words. My self-proclaimed male chauvinist traditional father simply said, "I'll have to think about it." He reached for the remote control, so I knew to move on. In that moment, I decided, with or without his blessing, I would say Kaddish for my father. It would be my final gift to this man who gave so much for his family, his synagogue, his community, and his country. On the Thanksgiving weekend in the year before his death, Dad ushered the family together. He extracted a promise from us of no heroic measures. We agreed without hesitation, yet tears welled up for all of us. I lingered in the family room after the others left. "Dad, did you ever think about my reciting Kaddish for you?" "Yes, as a matter of fact, I've thought about it quite a bit." Silence. I craned forward, awaiting the words that didn't come. And what? Does that mean you're giving me your blessing?" "I don't think you need my blessing, but if you feel you do, sweetie, then you have it." I wrapped my arms around his neck with a huge hug. It never occurred to me to ask him why he'd changed his mind, or if in fact he had. I'll never know whether the strength of my faith convinced my father, a man of faith, or if he just acquiesced to avoid conflict. I imagine that he struggled between the traditional values of his father and the feminist ideals of his daughter. But what I do know, God heard my prayers and bestowed his blessings on my father and his eternal soul.